Welcome to IPR Radio. I am Sanjay Mukherjee. In this episode, we speak to Dr. R.S. Sodhi, President, Indian Dairy Association, on Indian dairy sector, navigating challenges and harnessing opportunities. Dr. Sodhi was the Managing Director of Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation Limited, AMUL, from 2010 to 2023. He has 40 years of rich experience in leading and developing cooperative sector within the Indian dairy industry, having served dairy farmers in several capacities. Dr. Sodhi was responsible for creating the current structure of AMUL, enabling the organization to maintain and enhance its leadership status within the dairy industry. He is a board member of International Dairy Federation as well as the chairperson of National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management. Dr. Sodhi has also been appointed as independent director on the board of IB Group. For more than 3 decades, Dr. Sodhi has worked under diet guidance and mentorship of the father of white revolution, Dr. Verghese Kurian, and has ensured that values cherished by Dr. Kurian, such as integrity, dedication, courage, honesty, commitment to farmers and to consumers, remain deeply ingrained in the culture of the organization. After the break.
In the orchestra of life, each creature plays a part. At Sapience, we see the web of life, where the health of animals reverberates through ecosystems and societies. With innovative technologies, we're redefining the future of agribusiness, sustainably enhancing productivity and profitability. We don't just dream of a better future, we make it. Food safety, quality, and security. These aren't just words, they're our mission. We're Sapience, and we're committed to healthier animals because we believe in healthier living. Be a part of our melody, and together, let's compose a better world. For more information about our products and solutions, log into sapienceagri.com.
Hello, Dr. Sodhi, and welcome to IPR Radio. Thank you for being here. The dairy sector in India is a lifeline of rural livelihoods and inclusive growth. In today's podcast, we deep dive into the complexities facing the industry to uncover how the sector is adapting, innovating, and tapping into new opportunities to ensure sustainable growth and prosperity. So, sir, the first question to you is, how has the Indian dairy industry evolved over the past decade? And what have been the key drivers of this development, of this change?
Well, firstly, Sonia ji, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to talk to your Indian Poultry Review audience. It's my privilege. And like the poultry, dairy, these are the growth engine of Indian food sector. Talking about India's dairy sector for the last 1 decade, let me tell you, last 1 decade, the growth of Indian dairy sector kept the same pace which it is adopting for the last 5 decades. Dairy sector is growing at the rate of around 5.5% to 6% per annum. Well, you may be knowing, in one sector where any Indian can feel very proud and speak anywhere, India is world largest producer of dairy or milk. Okay, today if you see, dairy sector is around 14 lakh crore. Out of that, 10 lakh crore is dairy, milk. 3 lakh crore is feed, etc. And 1 lakh crore is some dung and other things, etc. And 5 decades back, India was the milk deficit country. We were dependent on imports. Today we may be number 1 with 231 million metric ton production, but 50 years back, our milk production was only 24 million metric ton. Today, 231, 50 was 24. We were 1/3 of USA and 1/8 of Europe. And today, we are 2.5 times of USA, around 25 to 30% more than the whole of all the countries of Europe. And that too with 20% more milk solids, because fortunately we have got buffalo, which has got double fat than the cow, and little around 47% of our milk is coming from the buffalo. And you see, milk or dairy is a very important part of food systems. I mean, if you see today, out of the total food consumed or agriculture production, 24% is contributing by dairy. Yeah. So, out of the total, if I say around today, India's food whole industry is around 60 lakh crore, and I mentioned 40 lakh crore is this dairy. And no doubt your poultry is also equally good. Around, I believe it is around 3 lakh crore or 3.5 lakh crore. And growing, I think, 50% more growth rate than the dairy. I mean, let me tell you one, I'll give you one more data, and your audience will be very happy to listen. Last 50 years, you see, we are talking 1 decade and 5 decades, India's population has multiplied 2.5 times. How much? 2.5 times. India's food production has multiplied 4 times. India's milk production has multiplied 10 times. And you know how much poultry has multiplied? 23 times. Fisheries, 12 times. And the cereals, that the paddy, wheat, etc., only 2.8 times, less than the food. So, coming to the dairy was contributing 50 years back only around 10% of India's agriculture. Today it is contributing 24. And I think the poultry and meat put together is around 9.5 or 10%. So, what we have achieved, I think what are the reasons for this achievement is the one biggest reason which whole world wants to copy, especially the developing countries. India's dairy supply chain, sorry, India's dairy supply chain, right from production to the selling to the consumer, is mostly owned by the farmers. That is production, aggregation, processing, and marketing. And because of that, our supply chain is the most efficient supply chain in the world as far as dairy is concerned. And I think it is not only dairy. You'll see in most of the food products, including poultry, what efficiency means is, in case of dairy, what the consumer pay for a liter of milk, 70 to 80% goes back to the farmer. Other parts of the world, only farmer gets around 30 to 35%, only 1/3. So because of this efficiency in supply chain, one side, farmer is getting very stable and remunerative price for his produce or her produce. So he is encouraged to produce, he is encouraged to invest. Okay. Other side, consumer is getting very nutritious, tasty food at affordable price day after day. So he or she is buying more, consuming more. So these two main stakeholders in the food or the dairy supply chain are happy. Once farmer and consumer is happy, that category is bound to grow. So that is the reason for this growth of. Second, I think the reason for the dairy to grow is that right from the beginning, emphasis on organized marketing and branding and market access. I mean, I'm telling you, 50 years back, mostly in India, milk was sold loose. Today you go to cities, not only milk, you find curd, you find buttermilk, you find paneer, all this organized. I mean, organized dairy is around 3.5 lakh crore or 4 lakh crore. I think which has not happened in the poultry.
Not happening at all. Absolutely.
So all because of cooperatives and other, everybody invested in packaging, branding, and developing the supply chain and changing the consumer mindset that packed milk, packed dahi, or packed buttermilk is not equally but more nutritious, more safe, and more standardized and affordable.
Right.
And third thing, I think, and that is true for poultry also, is that in dairy, the investments by the state or center or policymakers have been mainly on building infrastructure, not on subsidies. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no power subsidy,
Yeah.
there's no seed subsidy, no fertilizer subsidy, nothing. Whatever under Operation Flood, 1, 2, 3, which was a white revolution which started in mid or 70s, majority of investments were made only improving the productivity, building the supply chain infrastructure, and building these brands.
Right.
So I think that is the reason for this success. And I think reason, or which I think I should give credit, is to my parent organization, Amul, where I worked for 40 years.
Sure.
The very good structure, which is called a Amul cooperative model, collection of milk at a village cooperative society by forming a society of 200 producer members, bringing that milk to this district level for processing and adding value, packaging it, and then marketing it all over, and marketing in the common brand name all over India and abroad. So developing this three-tier structure at village level, district level, and state level is one very good reason for the self-sufficiency and the world leadership in dairy, which has been adopted by all over India later on in the last 15 years.
Right. Right. So, Dr. Rastogi, what do you think are the primary challenges faced by the farmers, by the dairy farmers in India today, particularly small-scale farmers? And what are the initiatives or policies that are being taken or adopted that are crucial to these marginal and small farmers?
I think the challenges which are faced by the farmers in dairy are true for any growing farmer, whether in dairy or if you are in vegetables, you are in poultry, I mean, anywhere. I think the biggest challenge, which I think I'm telling you very frankly, is how to change the mindset of policymakers, political leadership, consumers, media, everybody, is when the industry grows, it is called progress or prosperity. When the people's salary grow, it is called progress or prosperity. When the census grows, it is called progress and prosperity. But when farmers' income increases, unfortunately, it is called inflation or mangai. I mean, if milk prices are increased by 2 rupees, and actually 80% will go to the farmer, it is called inflation. Everybody, policymakers, everybody start how to reduce it. And if the price of fruits and vegetables goes, or egg or meat, they say it's inflation. But let me tell you, if we have to increase the farmer income, and we want the next generation of farmers are also interested in growing food or producing food, you have to see that they get also very remunerative livelihood. Otherwise, day by day, disparity is increasing. So if you want to reduce the disparity between the urban and the rural income, you have to see the rural produce prices increase. But what happens, I think, in that also, because if food prices increase, you have to increase wages also. Okay? So if you increase wages, industry profit will be reduced. So farmers are being penalized at the cost of industry growth to reduce his income. But let me tell you, the whole world is paying the price. Last 1.5, 2 years, the biggest inflation is happening where? It is in the food. Because nobody wants to produce food. Everybody wants to get into the food supply chain after the production. Somebody wants to aggregate, somebody wants to process it, somebody wants to market it, somebody wants to retail it, somebody wants to consume it. Everybody wants to consume it, but everybody wants cheap food. Every policy maker wants food prices should not increase. But how that fellow will grow? So how to change the mindset of people that food, it is not food inflation, it is food prosperity. Okay. Second thing is how to get, next generation of farmers to continue in the food production. That is related to my first answer. Because next generation is not, they want to go to the cities and become a delivery boy or security man. Then the third is very pertaining to developing countries or smallholder farmers like India. Whole world is playing this picture that food production by smallholders like dairy is not environmentally sustainable.
Correct.
So I'll talk to you later on this. One particular challenge which Indian dairy industry is showing is the low productivity. You see, our dairy model is, fortunately, in poultry, it is very good. Poultry productivity is, I'm not saying at par with the world best country, but it is very good. But what happens in Indian dairy sector is low input, low output. We feed to the animals whatever left over after human consumption. We do not have hundreds of acre land to grow the fodder and give the grains, etc. So because of that, our productivity is low. If you see, our productivity is 2,500 liters per lactation period versus the average world of 8 to 10,000 liters, 1/4 or 1/5. So in your language, I think poultry language, I get the feed conversion ratio is low.
FCR.
And, okay, let me tell you, in India, nobody in dairy sector talks about FCR. If you talk any dairy profession, FCR, nobody knows. So, one is this, how to improve the productivity. And for productivity, what is required is because our feed is very scarce. So, how to reduce the cost of 1 liter of milk productivity. That can be with better breeding and better feeding practice. The other area I think which we needed is the challenge is adulteration. I'm not saying adulteration by the farmer. I'm talking about formal type of adulteration, like most of the paneer which you get in the hotels, restaurants, that is not a paneer. It is paneer made out of vegetable oil. Adulteration in the ghee. Because they come out with some chemicals which the FSSAI people may not be able to detect. So that is also impacting the income of farmers. And other area I think is the feed and fodder shortage. That is again and lastly, I think that is true for the poultry also, for the dairy also. Simple. You see, dairy is contributing 24% of the agriculture GDP, and poultry and meat is contributing around 10%. Okay, you take any central or state government agriculture budget or resource allocation. Are they allocating equal to that? Not at all. Still, old mindset is among all the policymakers that dairy or poultry or fisheries are not the subject where government should do anything. But let me tell you, ROI, the same rupee spent on the power subsidy or on the MSP will give you 10 or 20 times more returns in case of poultry, dairy, or fish. And unfortunately, that is and in dairy we do not like, in poultry we never say MSP. We don't want MSP. Reason is simple: we don't want government to control the prices,
right?
Because there is no need. It has to run on demand and supply basis. So how to get change in mindset of policymaker that please spend, please invest in the food sector where returns are better and which is producing livelihood. But dairy is giving partial or full livelihood to around 80 million farmers, and 70% of them are landless and marginal. You tell me, in India, where 65% people are in rural India, and which is 50% income is from agriculture, how to give livelihood to the people who do not have land?
True.
Dairy, poultry, animal husbandry is the only sector.
Absolutely.
So these are the challenges which we are facing.
We'll be back after a short commercial break.
That is a wake-up call against the growing shadow of antibiotic resistance over our poultry, our health, and our world. To fight this menace, Excelsior, a natural antibiotic-free performance enhancer, marshals an army of bacteriophages, each engineered by evolution to engage a specific bacterial adversary. Excelsior uses a cocktail of bacteriophages that protects your flock against various strains of Salmonella, E. coli, Clostridium perfringens, and Staphylococcus aureus. Excelsior is more than a product. It's our shield against antimicrobial resistance. It's our stand for a safer, healthier future. For more information about our products and solutions, log into sapiensagri.com.
So, what steps do you think are crucial for the dairy sector in India to become more competitive on a global scale?
I think we need two factors which I just mentioned. We have to see we reduce cost of production. You see what happened? I mentioned that in the last 50 years, our milk production multiplied 10 times. Every 25 years, our milk production multiplied 3 times. From 24 to 1974 to today, it is 231, 50 years. And another 25 years, from 231, our milk production increased to 628. Our per capita milk consumption was 110 gram 50 years back, 240 gram 25 years back. Today is 460 gram. But the way our milk consumption increasing another 25 years, per capita milk consumption will be 850 gram. Why I'm telling you, with the 1.62 billion population after 25 years, 850 gram per capita, we will be consuming around 520 million metric ton. And we'll be producing at the same pace of even taking a growth rate of only 4.7%, 628. So we'll be having 110 million metric ton surplus milk. That is gradually going to increase. But this surplus is going to happen. The pace of growth of 4.7% will only be maintained if farmers get remunerative price. And the other side, whatever milk is consumed, it is sold and consumed. So what I feel, you cannot afford increasing the price of milk with what the rate which is happening in the past. But you can also penalize farmer also. So what is required? You require, like I mentioned earlier, to reduce the cost of per liter milk production, so farmer can get 2 paisa more even by selling at the same price. So by reducing the cost of milk production, you are getting two objectives achieved. One is you will continue to see that local consumption increase. Second is you become competitive at the global market. Presently, our cost of production, we are not competitive globally. Second area for globally competitivity, we have to improve the quality of our milk. So whether it's the aflatoxin level or the other thing. So we have to see, we have to meet quality standards and at the cost of milk production. Then only we can be globally competitive. The third thing I think which is very good opportunity for India for globally, which nobody else has got, that is our buffalo milk. Right. Because world over, now suddenly people have realized that dairy fat is good for health. So consumption has started increasing. Today, all over world, for the last 2 years, the dairy fat prices are shooting up. And what is not, I mean, there's no sufficient dairy fat available. Reason is simple. Cow is producing 3.5% to 4% fat in a 1 liter of milk. And 8.5% is SNF or milk, solid not fat, which you call skim milk powder. So, skim milk powder consumption is not increasing. So if you get a liter of milk, you have to consume both. So answer is buffalo milk, because in buffalo you get double fat. So moreover, buffalo milk, a product made out of buffalo milk, is more sweeter, more tastier, more whiter in color, more calcium. So globally, if we have to be competitive and a global leader, which is going to happen in another 25 years, India is going to become dairy to the world. We have to reduce the cost of production, we have to improve the quality of milk, and we have to promote buffalo milk and buffalo milk products. Like other countries are, like some people say Swiss chocolate or olive oil from Italy or canola oil from Canada. Why not buffalo ghee from India?
Interesting. Since we're speaking about the policymakers and the policymakers' mindsets, so what do you think are the most pressing regulatory challenges that are facing the dairy sector? Although you've touched upon this in the past a little bit, what are the regulatory challenges facing us today?
I think the regulatory challenge, one is the very tough ground level monitoring of the adulteration thing in milk and dairy. Second is what we want is the adulteration in ghee, which should be checked with the, I mean, still the samples which are being taken, the gas chromatography testing should be applied to the ghee testing. By the third thing is, which government of India and regulatory people are in our favor, and we don't want to change them, is the not allowing any other food products category to use dairy terms if it is not made out of the animal milk. Animal, from which has not come from the udder of that. So those are the very, very favorable thing I think is happening. But still, what is required is implementation at the ground level, monitoring, and penalizing and catching people who are not following it.
Since you mentioned about plant-based products using the word milk, etc., so how is the dairy sector addressing this problem of plant-based alternatives to traditional dairy products?
Well, Sonia ji, ऐसा है कि definitely dairy sector is working to safeguard its interest, of farmers' interest, and also to educate consumer against these fake duplicate products. You see, let me tell you, when I say fake or duplicate product, because when you say dairy or milk products, see, first of all, let us see, we admit in India or world over, there is a lot of scope for any type of food products to come. I mean, let the consumer try anything. And if product is plant or natural, it is very good. But let me tell you, before I tell you about this plant-based other thing, you see, food. Anybody asks me whether plant-based food has got future or not, or dairy product. I say, in food, future is for any food product which meets criteria of 3 parameters. What are those 3 parameters which food must meet and which has got future? One is it has to be tasty, it has to be nutritious, and third is it has to be affordable, especially if you see India, which is a middle class country or lower middle class country. So food has to be tasty, nutritious, and affordable. Unfortunately, today, whatever plant-based product, packed product which are being sold on Indian internal shelves, and if you read their label, you read their MRP, you read how much is the plant-based in that, and if you taste it, it will not meet the taste level of dairy. It will not be as nutritious as dairy. You will see some soya beverages have protein equal to milk, but it does not have fat, it does not have vitamins, it is chemically fortified. I mean, any of these so-called almond, soya, oat, if you see the label, ingredient, it is nothing but 5 to 6 plant-based. Remaining is hydrogenated oil, sugar, synthetic color, chemically fortified, emulsifier to give creamy mouth. They add this gums. So to add more calcium, you see, they add limestone. I read. You see, I went to the USA and on that Amazon Fresh, the maximum selling plant-based almond beverage, they called it almond milk. It has got limestone, it has got gum, it has got emulsifier. I have seen, and I'm sorry to say, I've seen most educated and enlightened customer is easy to fool than the less educated.
Yes.
I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely.
So, as a dairy sector, we are not worried about long-term future of these plants, so-called plant-based. But I am for 100% pure natural plant-based. I mean, you take almond, you graduate, you eat it, oats, anything. But please see what is the name of almond milk, the name of soya milk, what are they giving you? And that to 2-3 times more cost price. But fortunately, what has happened in India, we have not allowed them to use dairy terms, government of India. So, like paneer, butter, etc. And a lot of fight takes place. They say, why don't allow? It is also food. We say, if you allow these soya beverages to be called milk, tomorrow you allow silver jewelry to be sold as 22-karat gold jewelry.
Absolutely.
And other side, you say, you use all types of, I say, bad words for the dairy ki, it is a cruelty, it is not good. So if dairy and it's not good for health, the milk is not good for health, you have got lactose intolerance. If milk is so bad, if my surname is so bad, why you want to use my surname? One side you say milk is bad, and you want to use milk or butter or paneer.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let me tell you, same is true for the meat. Synthetic.
Same thing.
I have seen the labels of India is not labels of this all synthetic meat products sold in they are nothing but chemicals. No taste.
Absolutely.
So one, आपको जब तक if you are getting a natural food at a very affordable price, very nutritious, why you want to buy an artificial synthetic product and 2-3 times more cost?
No cost. No. Yeah, it is absolutely that's. This I think is also now there is, as you said very rightly, amongst the educated or the more upwardly mobile kind of people, there is this trend of or this passion of having things like almond milk and oat milk, and you'll see all the expensive outlets, all the expensive coffee shops promoting that. People are very happily paying so much more and having it.
I mean, marketing for these enlightened people only. They can be fooled fast.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, but it is also surprising that while our government has prevented the use of milk being used with, say, oat milk or almond milk, but these expensive outlets where it is not packaged, it is sold in terms of by mixing, they're all using almond milk, oat milk, that kind of terminology. That has not stopped. That
But
has
let
not
me tell
stopped.
you, in the developed world, they have started realizing the mistakes they have been making. That
Okay.
it has started declining now. People
Okay.
have started getting the ill effects of the because nobody has seen the what is the impact of using such beverages over a period of time and not consuming the milk or other products. How it impacts the health, how the brain impacts. You see, the dairy fat is good for the brain cells development. How that is impacted, how skin is impacted.
True, 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 true. So, sir, over the next 10 years or so, over the next decade, how do you see the key or are the key trends that you see developing in the dairy sector?
See, one thing is, as told you earlier, one trend which is permanent, the dairy is going to be consumed more and more on any food product which is tasty. The other thing which I have seen is the consumer is shifting from mainly from carbohydrate based diet to more of animal source based diet, whether dairy is there, meat is there, and fruits and vegetable is there. I mean, if you, I don't know if you have seen the monthly per capita expense data which has been released by the government of India, in which there's an average urban household is spending around 6,500 rupees per month. And out of that, 39% is on food. And in that 39% on the food, so average is around 85 rupees per day. Around 20% or 17 rupees is on milk and milk products. And let me tell you, poultry and meat is around 7 to 8 rupees.
8 rupees.
Ah, so, and that is with the increase in income or prosperity, consumer is going to spend more and more on protein and fat based diet. So one is that consumer is upgrading to that. Second, we have seen, and that is going to now the biggest trend which you will observe in dairy. What happened in, in poultry? What happened in dairy last 50? Consumer has now shifted from loose, unbranded, unpacked to branded organic. I mean, you go to any shop, anything you buy, it is now packed. Even whether you're suji, maida, dosa better now, chapatis, everything.
Everything.
And this trend was happening, but during COVID it multiplied.
Absolutely.
And now consumer has started believing or having trust in packed branded food. So I think only category which is still left is the meat and poultry.
Meat. But that also is changing. I see that that change is happening. It's a slow process.
Yeah. No, but it is slow as the past. You will see suddenly tipping point will come. I have witnessed, you see, in 1985, I was the person who launched Amul's first milk pouch. Milk was sold in loaves before 85.
Yes.
And in late 90s, when we launched dahi in pouches, nobody was ready to buy. There were some brands selling dahi in the cups. If milk was 30 rupees, they were selling the cups 100 rupees dahi. So nobody was buying,
Right.
even 1%. The day we made affordable dahi in pack, just charging 10-15% premium. Premium that too for packaging and other things.
Packaging.
Overnight, consumer shifted. Now everybody buys milk or dahi in pouch, in
Pouch.
pack form.
Packets. Absolutely.
Same is going to happen in poultry. Once it's like consumer wants it. I think it is not. I don't. Blame consumer for this. I blame the industry.
Yes. I agree.
See, industry has to. As a consumer, I want next shop a packed fresh chicken like your milk. It is not available. And if it is available, it is 50 times more costly. There are online people selling, but that is 50 times more costly. So only 1 or 2%. So that one thing is there happening. Third very good trend which I have noticed during last 5-6 years more. Now consumer has started more faith and trust in local and regional food brands. There was a time consumer housewife wanted to buy only the international brands. Then they like Glaxo, Nestle, I remember Colgate. Then the housewife started having more faith and trust in the national food brand, चाहे वो Parle, Amul, Britannia, etc. I have seen now people somehow are very open to buying local regional brand made next door. So that is the opportunity for the food industry to go. So that is not happening only in media, in food. Anything, whether it's a regional movies, everybody was newspaper. Latest I saw in IPL. Earlier there used to be people used to watch only English or Hindi commentary. Now with the Jio Cinema coming, I watch whole IPL in Punjabi. I find more. So that is the change which is happening. Other thing is now reaching to the consumer. Now you have got more routes. Earlier it used to be general trade. Then Horeca came, hotel restaurant segment came. Then modern trade came. Then online came. Now quick service.
Quick commerce.
Quick commerce. So what happens is, for now any food branded product, you have got all these 5-6 routes to reach to the consumer. So that is good for the industry. And now launching a product, introducing a product is not all that difficult which it earlier used to be.
Dr. Sodhi, it's been wonderful speaking to you today. And thank you so much for coming on this podcast. And it's been a real pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sujani. Thank you very much.
To be notified of upcoming podcasts, like and subscribe our YouTube channel at IPR Radio today.